Philippines versus Indonesia, facing once again in the grand finals of the World Esports Championships. Who is going to take the first point out of this series?
Okay, we'll see how they start this game. A lot of the times, like we said, if it's your first time watching MLBB, early game is, for these first few minutes, you're going to see some poking happening here and there, but really the job, oh man, Chorizo already taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to get hit. Oh, I don't think he's going to survive that. First blood already drawn by the Philippines here.
Arcangel with the rotation and response onto the Terizla Canon. Meanwhile, up top here, Sakin and Vin. We have two roamers, we have two marksmen aiding this gold lane. Onto the visit of Arcangel down bottom, actually aided more to decrease the fragile armor of Chorizo right away. This is one thing that you don't want if you're up against a Terizla. You want to have the armor, you want to have that soak. But right now, onto the bottom lane, still the same thing happening.
Yeah, still pressure being put on here, right? As I was saying, both teams, another kill in the bottom lane against Chorizo. That is tough. He's now 0-2. I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to say, Philippines might be looking for some pressure to get some resources out. I didn't think 2 kills this early on, leading into that first turtle here. It looks like they want to have a response. Super Ken and Moreno both making their way here. 4 members of Indonesia now focusing on this top side. Archangel here to respond. They can't find anything. And Turtle just coming up here very soon. You can already see Saison getting in position.
Now with the delay onto Chorizo onto deaths here. No ultimate available ready for team fights. Saison has good advantage of clearing or getting more of their AoE here, or even the quadrant on how to get this first objective. Meanwhile, we have Super Ken as well, trying to get in for the action.
Okay, Super Ken, he wants to fight this with the retribution. It's going to come down to it. He does grab the turtle, now has to stay alive. Appraiser's Wrath comes through. There's the last insanity. Super Ken goes down. The flicker comes out too. Still going to be looking for Saison. A couple hits away. Moreno, can he grab it? He rolls away. Somehow surviving. Chorizo falls again. And Philippines still on the board. Indonesia only able to get the turtle.
Okay. They're willing to trade that. Philippines is willing to give up the first turtle up against Indonesia, but in that team fight, they disabled Chorizo right away. But one thing also that was concerned there was how will they sustain the damage? And looking by the items in progress right now, we're looking at 4 tough boots present and warrior boots for the marksman, for Gatiana for the Philippines. On the other hand, if we're looking at the marksman progress right now, Blade of Hephaestus is already present for Brody. You've mentioned it earlier, how is this item pickup is so valuable, even starting early game. I say this time around, Vin could actually have a great rotation once if he gets more vision for his team, especially for a Diggy. He's not letting go of his gold lane just yet because of the pressure that was given down bottom on the XP.
Well, again, just given the fact that in the XP lane, that's, at this point, the lane is won, right, for Canon. Going against Chorizo, 0-3 on this X-Borg, who's relatively, gonna have a hard time anyway, it's tough to deal with, and as Canon gets more of these items, hold on to the top side, they already put in the pressure. Super Ken there now to help Vin. Really low here. Archangel might be looking to follow up, not going to be able to find it though. And you can feel the tension in the top lane, man, right? They're just going to focus there because, again, that XP lane, they just got to leave Chorizo here to his biddings at this point, right? Big thing though, even though he's 0-3, Last Insanity still plays a part in a lot of these skirmishes, a lot of these team fights to get them down low, hopefully on the health, and then have some follow-up. Sakin hasn't gone down yet, so he should be able to farm up pretty well on this Brody. Second turtle now up.
Okay, second turtle is up. Second objective. Can is looking to poke on Chorizo.
All right, they're going to fight for it. Less than half health here. Canon zoning them out the best he can. Unigo holding on a little bit longer. Time to journey comes out as well. Turtle secured by Super Ken again. Gets the objective. Can they get the kill? Rough Waves will not find the connection they're looking for. Archangel using his own last insanity. Chorizo has to flicker out. Vin's gonna fall. Still looking for a second kill here. One hit away, and they put the pressure once again, but Indonesia grabs the turtle.
That is a good distance retreat onto the ultimate that Cerezo was going to give for the side of Philippines. That was a good initiation. That was a clapback. We were expecting more, that he could actually, that Arcangel actually would get the ultimate of the rough waves. But in the last part that we saw a few seconds ago, he took the ultimate of Cerezo. The complete additional burnout and having on level 7 with being a Valentina is a massive clapback in terms of those skirmishes that you actually could lose up against the composition of Philippines right now.
Yeah, it was nice to see that, you know, and still another setup here. They finally get on the board. Unigo gonna fall, but there's the response. They're going back for him. Moreno will fall. Vin has to get out of there. He's got the times journey still. So Indonesia gets on the board here. The kill going over to Moreno, that should help them a little bit, but this early game is definitely a struggle. Meanwhile though, because of this objective taking from Indonesia, they've managed, despite these kills over on the Philippines, they've managed to keep the gold lead relatively okay, right? 1,000 or so gold ahead.
Yeah, Moreno was the first down to go after he was using the ultimate, and that was just the go time for Philippines to have a takedown for Indonesia. You mentioned how they're just keeping up with the objectives, they're keeping up with the economy. I said they have the eyes on, or even tabs for how they can get an advantage for Indonesia, even for the items. Philippines is building on the items right now to give a counter. Look at that, Finn flickered out.
Lynn's gonna flicker out. There's the time journey of their own. Super Ken can't get the Prisoner's Wrath off. He was looking for the kill. Not able to get it because he got stunned, knocked up there. Now the rest, Sakin waiting for the moment. He doesn't have the torn apart memory though just yet. Gonna get these marks off. Moreno gonna go in, finding another kill. The flicker comes through, still on the follow-up. Could be in trouble. Only one down for the Philippines. Make it 2. Double kill for Sakin. Requitiano joining the fight along with Saison. Gonna push them back now. Turtle still gonna be worked on by Super Ken. He's not worried about it. That looks like it might be the third one. Waiting for this retribution. He's got it. 3 turtles for Indonesia. And now the junglers just battling it out, but they're back on the board and they swing things in their favor.
Moreno on the right target, taking down Unigo first and Cannon, disabling the penalty zone combo, disabling that knockup, the wall charge, the wall from the initiation once they started to get that turtle. Now looking by the items right here, we're looking at burst, we're looking at the elegant gem also being built up slowly to get his, again, clock of destiny. But now with the priority of the Genius Wand, decreases the magic defense of Philippines right now. That's what they keep on bursting over and over again.
The wild charge flicker combination comes in, but there's 4 members here. Unigo cannot escape that. He knew it. Will fall right in front of the turret. And once again, Indonesia finding a win where they needed to. They're going to force Requitiano back here. And as you were breaking down the items there, OSX, you saw Sakin is where he needs to be. As soon as that torn apart memory is up, you can expect them to put pressure. Saison now. Cannon's going to get knocked up here. The rough wave's already going to be used. There they go. Time's Journey has to come out defensively, trying to keep them alive. Flicker comes through. Sakin's still alive too. Gets the torn apart memory off, and they're still going. Time's Journey of their own for Archangel, forcing them back. It's a lot of poking back and forth. No one goes down, but all those resources expended.
Yeah, good frontline defense. Their 4 members from Indonesia just took a hold and just prevented Philippines from taking down Sakin. He forced out a flicker out of that Brody, but one thing that they're considering here is to lower down the proc of the Blade of Heptasis. As you all know who's watching us for the first time right here, 2-item pickup of a Brody right now. Having the passive of an ambush amplifies more of the damage if the Brody is not engaged or not being touched by any damage for a few seconds. But that is they're trying to prevent that. So with that, Super Ken is just also just clearing more of the waves here to get more items for Cerezo. Again, he falls down 3 deaths in the early game. He wants to get back up on his feet.
And not only that, but that he just picked up the Ice Queen Wand. That's crucial for him, right, on this export pick, because his job is just to slow people down and even get that last Insanity off. He has the Immortality, so he's got a little bit of extra defense here as well. Yeah. They're going to put themselves in a good position here for the Lord.
Yeah, speaking of positioning, we have Super Ken and Cerezo zoning out 2, 3.
Saison.
Moreno, though,
he's going to be in trouble. There's the last Insanity. They're forcing him back. 2 times journeys being used here. Lord is still going to be worked on. Super Ken just forcing the Philippines back alongside his teammates here. They've asserted their position. Philippines might have to give this one away. Requitiano might look for an entry himself. Unigo as well. Wild charge, but it's too late. Super Ken grabs the Lord. Vin will fall, but here's the focus. Unigo going to get knocked up here. Looking for the kill. Requitiano goes in with a blazing duet. Wow. The wind of nature, though. Moreno goes down. They're still looking. Double kill for Arcangel. Able to grab another one. Super Ken and Chorizo on the run. It could be dire, though. The penalty zone comes out. Super Ken left to his devices, Appraiser's Wrath, but falls in the jungle. They get the Lord, but at the cost of a couple lives.
Requitiano. PHI Requitiano with an entry. Mind you, when he wanted to go up front, up 4 against Indonesia, he didn't have the Wind of Nature yet. That was just damage building up. And when he knew that 4 ultimates were down and Indonesia, that was the time to use that Blazing Duet right on to 4. He has the Demon Hunter's Sword, he has the Golden Staff. And just by that, he has extra damage to peel. And the fall of Canon and even Arcangel was so beautiful to see. And that is just complete reinforcement. A quick response from Philippines.
Look at that. Arcangel getting that time journey for himself. That's proving to be really valuable for a lot of these team fights, depending on what ultimate he takes. But Indonesia playing around that power spike they had by getting that Lord. It was only the first one of the game. It made quick work, right? Philippines made quick work of it. But still, Indonesia is doing it in terms of objectives. They've got the 3 turtles. They got the first Lord. Philippines is the one that has to figure out how to get these neutral objectives against Indonesia, because this is where teams usually lack against the Philippines, right? This portion of the game is where they really slip up and take things in control, but it's Indonesia that's doing it. And now they focus on these tier 2s, a huge flicker! Penalty zone from Canon with the Times Journey able to help them out. Can they follow up through it? Torn apart memory already gonna be used. Rough waves as well, no one falling. Unigo goes in with wild charge, finds Moreno. He will fall. It's a pickup with the response from Super Ken and Chorizo looking for their own response. Canon falls to the Appraiser's Wrath. Blazing Duet comes down 2 down. Make it possibly 3. He holds on with the immortality now going to be popped. Can they get the kill here? He's still got the armor. Requitiano in trouble too, and he falls to Vin. It's a bloodbath here in the mid lane, 3 for 3.
That was a complete tug of war. The disengage, the initiation from Cannon with the flicker and parity zone initiated the go time of Philippines. One thing that they missed there is they were looking for a way to take down Moreno. That was a good wall charge by Unigo, but one thing they also were considering is how do you even cut shock? He was all over the distance. He was minding the gap, losing his ultimate at the right time. But one thing they had a way of to have to shut down 3 members of Indonesia. That was a complete disengage and again a back and forth.
Yeah, it was a bloodbath, man.
Completely disengaging. But now we're boiling down on the second objective of this game.
Can I just say too, great job for Chorizo here. Again, he had a rough early game, 0-3. He's made it back, right? And a lot of times it's just doing what he's doing. Getting that Ice Queen wand proc, slowing people down, using Last Insanity. They're gonna force Philippines back again for the most part of this Lord take. They're trying to get this one locked down. It's half health. Arcangel with the Times Journey of his own.
Arcangel just completely got the ultimate of the Diggy. Chorizo's ultimate is up, but he has no immortality.
Good reset.
Okay, there's a reset now on this Lord. I say in team fights advantage, Philippines has a window now to capitalize on, which they have for CC immunity and burst.
Keep an eye on the positioning, Requitiano as well. They're trying to spot him out. He knows what his job is. It's to get a Blazing Duet off on multiple members here of Indonesia, putting the pressure on. But it's not going to happen yet. Saison trying to roll around here. They're not sure if they want to commit to the Lord just yet. It is about a third of the health here. Then Vin's in trouble. There's the Blazing Duet we were just talking about. Vin will fall. What's the response from them? Last Insanity popped as well. Socket in trouble. He goes down. It's a double kill. Both gold laners down here. The response is from Indonesia to keep going. Cannon in trouble. Has the immortality. Will be popped here. And they follow it up with a kill. Unigo can't do anything but watch as he falls. And now it's 2 versus 3. Both junglers still up here. It is crucial. They can still fight with the retribution. Unigo goes in with a wild charge, trying to buy some time, trying to stall out Indonesia from taking this. Rough wave's gonna be utilized here. Saison still being held back. Super Kin now starting it up. They're waiting for the team to come up here. Last Insanity once again. Saison will fall, and that means a Lord going in the hands here of Indonesia, unless they can do something about it, but it doesn't look like it. They grab that one.
I just got to commend Indonesia for that border control. You have Chorizo, you have Vin, and you even have Moreno just looking up avenues on how will Philippines gain an entry on that Lord. Again, that objective, that major objective, going back on this replay, it was a back and forth.
Yeah.
The positioning of Riccatiano was so crucial by just being in the death bush. He managed to get Vin, he managed to get Saga. That was a double for the Fredrin, gaining more advantage for takedowns.
Oh, this is troublesome. They're going to lose the base mid-turret here. Still going to be worked on. Penalty zone is utilized. They're waiting for the damage. Blazing Duet comes through. Is it enough to make them fall here in the jungle? Immortalities, multiple go off here, but Indonesia still fully forced here. Chorizo in trouble, couple hits away. Woo! They force Riccatiano back and Unigo falls. Arcangel comes in for a double. Still looking for another, but Moreno somehow gets away with a sliver of health.
Wow. The tug of war continues. 3-man down as well for these two countries. Riccatiano really knows how to start a party. That blazing duet going back on this replay once again in this short corner. Vin was trying to get a hold of his own ultimate. They were forced to retreat back in the side corner. This was Unigo can completely shine. He used the wall charge. He procced and forced out something on Super Ken, but most of the members of Indonesia having a slow slither of health as the damage of Riccatiano is piercing through in their defenses. But from that moment on, Philippines respected the hell out of the damage, even the defense of their own opponent against Indonesia. Look at the board, 16-16.
At the 16.5-minute mark, both these teams giving us a show in game 1 in this best-of-5 grand final. You can see just how familiar they are with each other here.
Yeah, speaking of familiarity, looking at all the items almost locked in, we have two members of Philippines right now who has more sustain. You have Antique Raz, you have Radiant Armor, sustaining more of the magic damage that Moreno hasn't always for against Chorizo. He has the Ice Skin one for the slow though, but mostly, as you can see on our screens, we're looking at three members who actually have more advantage in soaking up team fights. So you have, that's 3 Antique Raz on our screens. From Voxia, from Brock, even from Cannon. So more of this would actually initiate the fights, especially that we've seen from early game. You have that Flicker ult combo, you have Wave Sustain, you have Spell Vamp having a present for Cannon. So what they need right now is to see. They need to look at on how Indonesia is rotating because there's only one turret left for Philippines to defend. There's 2 problems. How do they get to the backline of Indonesia? How do they get to defend this base? But that is the answer. They have a claw. They have more ways to wave clear and also split. Mind you, that is still a threat in the late game.
With that, next lore now up here. Indonesia in position. Philippines really has to approach this, as you were saying, OSX. You know, they have the tools they need, and a lot of that is negated just by a time's journey. So you almost have to just overlap things perfectly to get this team fight in your favor, or it comes down to the positioning and the conceal play.
You know, speaking of conceal, in position, 3 members of the Philippines right now eyeing on Chorizo.
Okay, Riccatiano also making his way here. Cannon gonna go in, he jumps in with the penalty zone. Here comes Unigo looking for the wild charge. He has to wait, time's journeys, both teams gonna be used. Riccatiano finds the mark on the blazing duet, forcing them back. Chorizo still alive, but in the mid lane, they battle it out. Sakin with a torn apart memory will not find a kill. Philippines stays healthy. Indonesia down 1 member. They can still contest the Lord here. If the Philippines grabs this Lord, they will surely march into the base of Indonesia. This is crucial for them.
Yes, speaking of crucial, that backline entry from Cannon and Unigo is so effective for Riccatiano's enters with Blazing Duet. But one thing that they're seeing here, we're seeing on our screens, Vin on this Diggy is giving so much vision for Indonesia right now, even he falls down first.
Super Ken getting in position. He knows what he's got to do here. They got to zone him out. Cannon again jumps in with a flicker. Penalty zone. Lord secured for the Philippines. They're turning it around here. Unigo goes in with a wild charge, focusing on Chorizo, but in the backside, Riccatiano using that blazing duet, firing off before he has to back out as well. They have the Lord. They can't fall here. Lord already up down the bottom side. Say Sun will fall. And Indonesia responds the 1-for-1 but Lord secured for Philippines.
Clearly getting that win. Two jungles fall down. Super Ken and Saison. From that moment that Cannon initiated a flicker penalty zone, it was just the right corner for Unigo to utilize with the walls and the passive of Grok. Looking at this replay, the amazing entry of that Terizla onto two members forced Indonesia to react, forced Chorizo to use that last insanity, but with the knockup of Unigo right onto the wall on that corner, gave so much rate for the damage to pierce through, making Recodiano so effective with the damage of the Blazing Duet. This is the prowess of winning condition of a Claude being present in Philippines.
Okay, here it is. They should be able to clear this. They're quite stacked on the items. They're zoning once again. Penalty zone comes through. They hold on to the turret, so despite that, Indonesia holds on with a great high ground defense. Given the situation, they're back at it. It's still over a minute and a half for that next Lord to come up. It's up to these two teams to find wins. Now for Philippines, what did they get out of that Lord? They got a few turrets. They got a little space to work with now.
Yeah, gaining more on the presence of having a push, having a great clear against Indonesia. Yes, slowly they're getting something out of it. This is the late game. This is the window of their own lineup. Late game composition, Claude, a walking winning condition, just in case they would need more extra damage. There's Arcangel, there's also Cannon for the Spell Vap. What we're trying to say here is they have more winning condition, as you said, more tools, tools almost complete. They can actually interchange more of the items now on how to counter sustain, how to counter movement speed, because in Vision, and even for team fights, Indonesia needs more ways of discovering where will the penalty zone land. Where will Unigo come from? Look at this, the control. Look at the control over the map right now what Philippines is doing.
Look at that poke damage, right? That's just from Recodiano. A couple shots. Super Ken's got to respect it. He does have the immortality. But, you know, good point here, OSX, because at the same time, like we saw from that previous highlight, Kenon had a great flicker penalty zone combination on this Terizla, but unfortunately, you know, timing-wise, Recodiano was a little bit too far. The rest of the team was a little bit too far. If it happened a little bit differently, that timing, that down to a couple seconds, could really change the course of a lot of those fights.
Yeah, speaking of changing course, in team fights, if you miss the chance for a setup for Indonesia's lineup, they have Moreno, you have the Kadet that could actually evade by using that rough waves. This is one thing that you have if you have this kind of lineup. Either you use it against your enemy team or they force it against you. But looking at it right now, we have Indonesia eyes on the Lord. But Saison's not letting go on Vision as well.
Yeah, look at the placing. You have to keep an eye on the map here. Positioning crucial. Both junglers are just going to stay around this Lord, buying time. Anything that really stands out about these two teams, Philippines and Indonesia, is the fact that they've mastered what we call this Lord dance. Both teams just trying to basically gauge each other. Who's going to commit? There's the conceal from Unigo. The rest of Indonesia also making their way. They had the information they needed. And they know that that conceal is down. The surprise factor is not there anymore. Still going to be working on it. That's the reset. And this is the strength of having a Grok. He's going to use that Guardian's Barrier to go ahead and reset the Lord here. Now both teams know 5 versus 5 around the Lord, the most crucial one of the game. This is that fourth one. It gets much tougher to deal with the more Lords they go through. So now, once again, they find themselves at a stalemate.
They know each other so well that if one jungle is just showing up in this objective, some point of the game actually might happen or even might have a push. But looking at how they're so experienced in this kind of challenges, they know what to feel and what to decide.
Saken already used that torn apart memory. They might try to buy a little bit more time here for that to be up. Both junglers still at it, dancing in front of this Lord, pretty much dealing with it. They do have immortalities as well, so they have to be careful how they decide to do this. Canon gonna jump in. That's what we're talking about. Recodiano following up with a blazing duet, and in a split second, they'll collapse on Indonesia. Saken in trouble, couple shots away. It's a disaster for them around this Lord. Chorizo flickers out defensively. Seiso's gonna chase him down, rolls in, looking for that immortality, will not be able to find it, and they have to go back to this Lord, but Indonesia does not want them to just take it freely, but it looks like they call it back. Give it to them. and we just defend.
Cannon with the Turizla, the element of surprise, forced out ultimates out of Indonesia. The two most crucial pickoffs just happened, Sakin and Vin.
Oh, I think they're gonna press the situation. Wild charge, into the turret they go. Moreno can't find the connection he's looking for. Holding on here they do. Recutiano gonna force them back with his own blazing duet. BMI's back to safety. And they press them back. Ultimates are online except for Moreno here. Indonesia, can they defend this? They should have a full force to deal with this Lord. Once again, it will most likely charge up into that turret here. So slowly but surely, Philippines gaining ground for this game number 1. They're gonna hold it here, and Indonesia hangs on.
25 minutes. We're in the ultra late game
It's a
where
long
death
game.
timers are much longer. One crucial pickoff, either from these two countries, once they spot on someone out isolated on the map, that is the advantage of having a disable and the power of their late game composition. Now we're looking at the defense of Indonesia right now onto the base. We're see some items be switched up here. We're looking at the power. We're looking at the defense of Moreno. He now has the Winter Truncheon, able to force, able to have an invulnerability.
This is tough.
Even burst down from Philippines.
The tough part here is the fact that you have everybody item locked. They're gonna be switching items, like you mentioned, right? And it comes down to these micro decisions. In that sense, immortalities, right? Once they're expended, you're gonna expect them to pick up these Winter Truncheons or these Wind of Natures, flip things out, even those Rose Gold Meteors, right? And at that time, especially dealing with Moreno, you just have to dodge that initial burst for the most part. But right now, what it's looking like, both teams having some of their bases exposed, Indonesia's turrets a couple hits away. This is where it gets a little dicey, because what we've seen before too is not so much focus just on the Lord at this point, right? This is gonna be the 5th Lord. It's almost game ending for most matches, right? We're nearing that time. But not only that, but when teams focus so much, they're hyper-focused on dealing with that Lord, the split push comes through. So they have to keep an eye on that here for Indonesia.
Things could happen all over the place, all over the map. Good point there about the split push. We're looking at Sakin, we're looking at Recutiano. Damages that right now is actually showing up on the roof, but one thing to also saw right there when he had to hover on the items, we have 2 members of Philippines has the Queen's Wings. Probably countering out the damage reduction of Indonesia's damage right now that could be so high because with the Brody and even for Chorizo, you have more ways to even compensate for that, just in case for a team might just happen. As you mentioned about the map being all things can be considered.
Yeah.
Split push, actually diversion. It's present for these two MLBB giants that actually keep on experiencing even in their own leagues. So it's so nice to see that there's a lot of tension, a lot of surprises can happen.
Wow.
But look at that. There's some folks, so much immortality right now on our screens.
Yeah, they're already gonna force Saison, right? So off the Lord here. Gotta keep an eye out again on the placements. Specifically, what's going on at the bottom side of the map. Moreno also trying to find some, this might work.
Oh.
It does, it at least gets the immortality. Still has to follow up. Chorizo's gonna go in with the last Insanity Archangel. In trouble, but he has the Winter Truncheon. Cannon can't help him. He falls, but look at the bottom side. This is what we were talking about, the split push they might be going for. They still have to deal with here. The penalty zone will not be able to find the mark. Revenge Strike comes through. Cannon, can he salvage this fight at the top side? Meanwhile, in the base, Vin fell. Recutiano is still there, but good thing Sakin went back. So the base is handled. Saison and Cannon trying to get out of here. They're gonna lose their jungle. That's big for Indonesia here. They managed the split push. They won that fight around the Lord. And now they can decide, do we go for it? 3 down for the Philippines.
3 crucial takedowns with just the presence of Moreno, Super Cannon, Vin being on the base and being on the side of the Lord. They were able to sustain that burst. They were able to sustain that CC coming in from Cannon, putting the right amount of people with the burst here. Cannon's trying to hold off as well.
Cannon trying to buy time. He needs a lot of it. It's him versus the world right now. Unigo up here. He's gonna go ahead, try to block some of these minions. Immortality will be popped. wild charge. He's holding on. He doesn't have it just yet. He cleared the minions, though, for now. Is it enough time? Arcangel now up. Can they defend this by themselves? The base is going to be worked on by Sakin, and it looks like Indonesia will draw first blood in a long game here in a best of 5 against the Philippines.